Today we're looking at the Bauer Brushless Impact Driver. I've used this impact driver for the last several months. This is actually a newer version because I gave one of them to my brother-in-law. I really like this impact driver. Bauer has a new 8 amp hour battery as well, so great things are happening in the Bauer line. Is it DeWalt? No, not quite, but they do make some pretty good tools now, and I really like this impact driver. As you can see, there are 3 modes here and a button to select between the 3 modes. It does have a nice bright tri-beam light, which I always like. It does not have a chuck that you can just press the bits into. You do have to pull out the collet when you put in your bit. The Bauer is about 5 5/8 inches long. With the 5 amp hour battery on the Bauer, it's about 10 1/8 inch tall. With the 5 amp hour battery, the Bauer weighs just over 4 pounds, or 1,820 grams. Now I want to show you guys what the different batteries can produce as far as RPM. I hear a lot of people saying that batteries are only capacity, but that's not exactly true. Certain batteries can give you more power because the cells will allow you to pull more amps. Also, different technologies will allow you to get more power. Like there's new pouch cell technology. Milwaukee just came out with their Forge battery. So there are things out there that are going to increase power as far as batteries, as well as capacity. So let's see what the RPM is for the 3 amp hour, the 5 amp hour, and the 8 amp hour. Now we're going to hook up the Bauer to the dyno to see what kind of voltage drop there is, how many amps this tool is pulling out of the battery for each battery, and how many PSI it can build up on the hydraulic dyno. So this is going to be our 3 amp hour battery for the Bauer Brushless. Well, that may not say DeWalt, but it packs quite a punch. And as you can see, that battery voltage drops down to the 16s. We're pulling about 30 some amps there. So let's compare it with the 5 amp hour battery. So those 2 batteries are pretty darn close on our graph here. But let's check out the new 8 amp hour 21700 cell battery. So even though we're looking at 1360 PSI over 1340 for the 3 amp hour, I do think these guys are in kind of a dead heat right here. But if we drop back and look at the entire curve, it looks like the 8 amp hour held the title across the entire curve, making it an overall better choice for driving any kind of fastener. We are now looking at a graph that shows how many watts each battery supplied to the tool while it was in use, and it goes just like you think it would go. 3 amp hours on the bottom, 5 amp hours in the middle, and 8 amp hour has a significant lead. The 8 amp hour 21700 cell battery supplied a peak of 744 watts to the impact driver. This chart shows how efficient each battery allowed the tool to be, which means how many PSI it produced per watt. As the chart goes from left to right, it builds up, and the pinnacle is for the 3 amp hour battery because in general it looks like the smaller batteries have the greatest efficiency. The 3 amp hour peaked at 2.5 PSI per watt, and the 8 amp hour was last at just over 2. In the next segment, I'm going to allow the impact driver to drive in 4 lag screws with each battery capacity. 3 amp hour, 5 amp hour, and 8 amp hour, and we're going to compare the speeds. The 3 amp hour comes in at 21.11 seconds. Now let's see how well the 5 amp hour does. 5 amp hour shaves a couple seconds off that, coming in at 19.26 seconds. But where is the glorious 8 amp hour battery that cost me $100 and is made of premium battery technology? Well, let's take a look. We put it down here on the charger to charge it up for the test. The lights are blinking just fine, except for... what the crap? And as you can see, I have a 5 amp hour on the same charger and it is charging just fine. So it's something in the 8 amp hour battery. Going back to our scoring chart, you can now see that we have all 3 Bauer versions on top here, ranging from the 3 amp hour to the 8 amp hour. The height on the 3 and 5 is the same at 254 millimeters. The Bauer with the 8 amp hour battery is 268 millimeters, so a little bit taller, a little bit heavier, ranging from 1807 grams for the 3 amp hour to 2161 for the 8 amp hour. That's translated into points that are taken away from the total score of the impact driver and matches that particular battery. The PSI ranged from 1295 for the 5 amp hour up to 1360 for the 8 amp hour. So really it was pretty close, a dead heat for the most part as far as power score. The 8 amp hour did have the greatest power, but the 3 amp hour and 5 amp hour weren't very far behind. The Bauer and other Harbor Freight stuff is at a little bit of a handicap because when I do the cost, they don't really have many kits available. They have a few available for the Hercules line, but as for Bauer, you either catch a sale or you have to buy each item separately. And when you buy each item separately, it tends to hit you a little bit harder than if you can get a kit. The cost of the Bauer ranged from $125 for a 3 amp hour, this is in US dollars, all the way up to $170 for the 21700 cell 8 amp hour with the impact driver and a charger. I would like to add that the Bauer chargers are not fast at all. If you look at the box when you go in the store, you can see it could take you a few hours to charge up that 8 amp hour battery and even a couple hours to charge up the 5 amp hour battery, which is done by competing companies' chargers in 1/4 of the time. But let's see who wins the actual points total for the Bauers. Because the power was pretty close between the 3 battery capacities, it puts the 3 amp hour battery at its lower cost on top at 53 points or just over 53 points. The 5 amp hour comes in second at 48.9 and the 8 amp hour comes in third at 45.74. Now, that being said, they're still at the top of this chart right now, which I'm sure won't last forever because the Warrior follows behind and then the 12-volt impact drivers. But as for Bauer, the 3 amp hour battery is probably the most cost-effective and sensible way to go because it's the lightest, it's the cheapest, and it can still get the job done. If you enjoyed this video, please take a second to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already done that. If you'd like to see more behind-the-scenes content, I put this Bauer to a torture test with a very large lag screw, and you can see that by becoming a member from this channel. You'll see a link right at the end of this video in the bottom right corner when we do our little end screen. As always, thank you for watching. If you have any comments, please put them below. If you'd like to see something tested, a type of tool, a brand of tool, anything, let me know in the comments. Again, I appreciate you guys and gals watching out there, and God bless each and every one of you.